Hello and welcome to NK Fabe. I am your host, James Harshaw. Hello, everybody. Man, it's good to be here. I can't believe it. YouTube for the first time. I have to, first, I have to just go over what's been going on because most of my audience, everybody knows, from Cincinnati, the Cincinnati area. For the past 5 years, I've been on WKGGL. AM radio in the Cincinnati area, talking about wrestling, talking about behind the scenes stuff. One of the most highly anticipated shows on that channel. Definitely had the most viewers, got the most ad revenue. People wanted this show. Don't think that this is they cut me because I wasn't pulling my share of the weight. No, as a matter of fact. And look, I just have to address this because this has been getting on me, and people are wondering, why aren't you on the air? We want you back on the air. We want to hear your voice. We want to hear your opinions on what's going on in the sport of professional wrestling. WKGGL, for those that don't know, is run by a man named Hugh. And Hugh and I have never seen eye to eye. I think he's a little jealous of my success. He has wanted to be a content producer himself, but really has found success behind the scenes. And for me, I have to say that he definitely is good at what he does. But look, we've never gotten along, and that's no surprise. So all of a sudden, Hugh decides to tell me that he's changing the format of the station. Okay, that's fine. Changing the format of the station. That does not mean, for anybody who's not in the radio business, that does not mean that you cannot continue to produce content like you did before. You're changing certain things, certain aspects of the station, but he decided we're changing the format. We're no longer doing professional wrestling. But look, WKGGL AM, they're now producing content for a sex cult. And I'm going to tell you that. Look, nobody's going to want to say that. They're worried about liable lawsuits, and I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about what the FCC is going to say. They are a sex cult. The content that's being produced for WKGGL is the content for a sex cult. I won't even name them. I don't want to do that. Because to me, if you name them, you give them power. And we need less sex cults in the world and more professional wrestling. Look, I don't care who comes after me. Hugh, he said, don't talk about it. Don't bring your opinion into this. This is a very sincere religious organization that only care about the peace and well-being of its devoted following. I said, Hugh, you are an idiot. This is a sex cult, and this is going to come back on you. And when the FBI raids the compound in northern Cincinnati, well, your name's going to be on a list somewhere. And when you decide you want to go back to the old format where you actually had listeners and you were able to get, actually able to make a profit on an AM station, which is very hard these days, then when you call me, I might say, you know what, actually I like this YouTube format. I'm not only reaching the Cincinnati area anymore. I'm reaching the whole world. And you know what? I have a face. I have a face for video. I shouldn't be behind a radio anymore, behind a microphone, hiding this beautiful face. So you know what? Cincinnati radio, goodbye. Goodbye. I'm done with you forever. And it's hello world. Hello world. So let's get back into the show. It's just going to be a short one today. I'm going to go to the questions real quick. Now, I've been getting a lot of questions about this. People they're confused, and that's fine. What's going on behind the scenes in wrestling is always confusing to people because everybody lies. In professional wrestling, everybody lies. That is no surprise. So really, you need somebody like me who's able to wade through this, who has connections in the back, who can talk to these people and get you the right information. So this question comes from a friend on Twitter. He says, Mr. Harshaw, what is the deal behind Matt Sidell giving Josh Matthews the Impact Grand Championship title? Okay. Now, the Grand Championship title is it's gone through a lot of changes behind the scenes. First, it was the timed rounds and the judges, and they were trying something a little different with that title. And then they decided, with the new owners, we're gonna just make it your standard title. And a lot of people think that has something to do with it, that they just didn't care about the title anymore. That has nothing to do with it. This all has to do with Matt Sidell and Josh Matthews. Specifically, that Matt Sidell has been saying that Josh Matthews is almost a spiritual advisor to him. Now, there is some theater to that, but there is a relationship there, a very strong relationship. Matt Sidell and Josh Matthews are sort of cut from the same cloth. They've been rejected by, companies that they've worked with. They've both been rejected by the E. And look, when you get rejected by the E, that puts you in a club that links you. Okay? But these two in particular, look, even the fans, they've turned against them. And when people turn against you, then you tend to group up together. You form a bond, you form a friendship, and really Josh Matthews has gone out of his way to make Matt Sidell seem welcome in Impact Wrestling, and has really given him the strength and the courage to become a champion. And that's why he gave him the belt. He said, not only are you a friend, but you're the grand champion of my heart. And that may sound a little saccharine, but really, when you're in a sport like this, when you're in blood, sweat, and tears, you need somebody that's an ally. And if you can find somebody like that, anybody like that in the business, then you better keep them close. Now, of course, Matt Sidell put that title on the line when he fought Austin Aries. Sometimes we can do things to our friends that can hurt them. He shouldn't have used the gift that way. But he thought he could win. Look, if he could win and get that world title, then Josh Matthews gets to keep his, and then he gets to prove himself to the entire world, the entire audience. Look, he didn't think he was going to lose. He shouldn't have done it. In my opinion, he shouldn't have done it. He gave that title to Josh Matthews because he was such a great friend. And really, if this puts a strain on the relationship, that wouldn't surprise me. And I'll report that back to you if it is the case. But hopefully they're able to get through this and be able to keep that bond, because really, you need that in professional wrestling. That's what I keep going back to. You need somebody that you can count on. And those two have been able to count on each other for some time. And that's the answer to your question, that they just have a relationship. That's why he gave him that title. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, and there's a lot of controversy. The Lucha Underground versus Impact Wrestling just happened on Twitter. And there's a lot of controversy over the main event. Now, the main event was supposed to be Phoenix and Phoenix and Pentagon Jr. And they were supposed to team up respectively. Phoenix was with Austin Aries, and Pentagon Jr. was with Alberto El Patron. Mid-show, this was changed. And let me just read something here. And this is I want to read something, and this is reflective of the entire conversation about this match. And this is real simple. The match was billed as Austin Aries and Phoenix versus Alberto El Patron and Pentagon Jr. But for no reason whatsoever, El Patron didn't turn up, and they didn't mention it at all on the show. This is the kind of conversation that's going around, and this is completely wrong. And let me tell you, this kind of thought is from someone who has no idea what's going on backstage and what's going on in the wrestler's mind. There's no reason for him to show up. That's what we're saying. There's absolutely no reason that he would want his future opponent to get in the ring with two men from a rival company two men that know each other, two men that have a relationship with each other, even if they're not the greatest of friends, but two people that have a shared history and a company in a three-way match. There's no reason that Alberto El Patron would want Austin Aries to have to fight two men who are very likely to team up against him. Does that sound ridiculous to you? You don't even have to. You don't even have to know about backstage politics to understand this. To understand that Alberto El Patron is playing games with Aries, and it worked. Look at the finish to that match. It was all offense against Aries by both of those opponents, and he ended up on the floor with two super kicks to the face, and he was out for the rest of the show. He played no part in the final pin, and as the show went off the air, he was still laying on the concrete. Exactly what El Patron wanted. Exactly. This has nothing to do with not wanting to show up. And you know, these guys didn't get paid a lot for the show. I'll tell you that. I was you know, I saw the numbers. I was given the numbers. But that's not what it's about. It's about making a statement. You know, he doesn't have to show up. It's going to look bad on him, but you know, some wrestlers. I'm going to give you a clue here. Some wrestlers don't care about you going home with a happy heart. And look, I'm not saying what Al Patron did was good. I think it's a little sleazy. Of course, you know, it's not something that somebody would do who wants to make the fans happy. But he doesn't care about that. His primary focus, and it always has been, is to be a champion. And you know what? He never got beat for that title. And so he's got and you know what? And the fans have been on him forever. So he doesn't feel like he has any reason to please the fans. So for him, the main objective is not sending the fans home happy, but at the end of the day, putting himself in a position where he is going to take that title home, the title he feels like he should never have lost in the first place. So he decides not to show up, and you know, that's gonna. Him and Aries have not been getting along. My guess would be that they do have a lot of respect for one another, but they're going to play games with each other until this title match happens, because they have a lot to prove to one another. They've never fought, and this is going to show who's on top, and part of that is playing mind games leading up to it, and we're going to see how, you know, if Austin Aries comes into this match injured, that's less of a show for the fans, but getting that title is most important. It's most important, and some people are willing to do things that we might not agree are the best things to do, but what are you going to do? That's just the kind of guy he is. That's just the kind of guy he is. So there was a reason. Don't say there wasn't a reason. You know, it's out of the blue. It's, you know, he's got a bad character. He's just that's the way he is. That's the way he thinks, and that's the way he's just a smart guy, really. That's how it comes down to. Look, this is a great format for me. I'm happy to be outside of the radio. I'm happy to be done with that. That part of my life is over. Okay? From here on out, this is where you'll see me. This is where you'll see my face. So this is where you need to show up to see what James Harshaw has to think. And you're going to want to know what I have to think and I have to say. Because I'm the only one who will give it to you straight. Everybody else, they have something that they're trying to sell you. And I'm not trying to sell you anything except this. This right here. This honest face. As I go backstage and I find the answers for you, because I care about sharing. I care about sharing with you, the general public. So thank you very much for tuning in, and tune in again as I post these videos and give you the inside scoop behind the scenes of professional wrestling. Thank you very much.